So in today's video, we're going to be discussing renting versus buying. And yes, there are pros and cons to renting and buying, but hopefully after this video, this will be able to help you make a better decision on what will be best for you at this time. First thing I want to talk about is on the renting side. Number one, you are building your landlord's wealth. So what I mean by that, of course, is you're paying for rent, and usually rent is going to be anywhere between $200 and $500 or even more than the owner's mortgage. Their mortgage could be, let's just go with round numbers, $1,000, and they charge you $1,500. What I want you to do is just look at what you're paying right now for rent. If you are paying for rent, know that that is not the owner's mortgage payment. You are paying much more, and who knows, it could even be double sometimes with older homes, because sometimes those homes are paid off. So you are helping the owner out more than you're helping yourself. And that's what we talk about when we're saying throwing away money, because that extra money that you are paying on someone else's property, you could be paying that on your own. So the first thing that I want you to think about when you're owning your own home is, number one, you're building your own wealth. You're going to receive a better return on your investment when you invest in real estate, because for the most part, real estate always appreciates. Second thing that I want you to think about when it comes down to renting is that your rent payment can increase at any time. So when it comes down to you renting an apartment, renting a home, you're at the mercy of that owner. If they feel like after 6 months or once a year that they can increase that rent, they can do that. So your payments is always going to go higher and higher and higher the longer you stay in that particular property. You might think that you are doing, pretty good, and it's something that you can afford today, but what about next year? Prices will go up periodically. But this is something that I want you to keep in mind and consider when you think about renting, because you could be putting a budget together and you can say, okay, I can afford $1,000, nothing more on rent. Now, as time goes on, that price can go up. It could be $100, it could be $200. I have known some people that lives in an apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, and they're paying $1,100, $1,200 for that 1-bedroom apartment. They've been in it for quite some time, in that same place that they're in, and I know you all can attest to this. If you're in that situation, you have started off paying $800 for that particular apartment. They have not done any renovations. They have not upgraded it at any point in time. But that same $800 apartment, now 5 years later, is $1,200. You all, that is a lot. Just understand that the rent will fluctuate and it can go up at any given point in time. Number two, when it comes down to owning your own home, whatever interest rate you get at that time, and we lock in, that rate is going to stay that rate until you decide to refinance. If you never decide to refinance on your home, whatever that rate is, that's what it's going to be, and that's what your mortgage payment is going to be when we go into a fixed rate. In the next 5 years, if you came in at a 7%, your rate is going to stay the same, which means your mortgage payment is going to stay the same. When you own your own home, you can better budget that way as well, because you know what your mortgage payment is going to be. You don't have to wonder the next year if it's going to change and how much it's going to change and how that's going to throw you off. You are on a fixed income. Owning a home is much better, to have versus being in a rental situation, because you don't have to worry. At least one of the bills that you pay, you don't have to worry about that fluctuating. So with renting, you all, that's what I want you to just keep in mind and consider when you're thinking about renting versus owning. Your rent can go up at any notice. However, if you buy, that mortgage payment is going to stay the same throughout the duration and the lifetime of that loan. Okay, the third thing that I want you to consider is landlord restrictions. you are going to have restrictions on this property. So you're the type of person also that wants to, personalize your place where you live. Give it your touch. You're going to have a lot of limitations when it comes down to renting. Now, some landlords will allow you to go in there and paint or do some extra things that you want to do, just, some niceties that you want to do to make it more you. However, most of the time, when you leave, they're going to want you to convert that back to the way it was when you moved in. So that's just a lot of unnecessary work, you all. If you think about it, if you go in there and you paint all the rooms in the home different to your liking, your boy's room is blue, your girl's room is pink, and your room is a different color, and then the living room, and then you got different things going on in the kitchen as well, just know that when you move out, more than likely the landlord is going to want you to change that, or they probably could take your deposit to change it themselves back to the original neutral colors. So number 3, on owning your own home, you have the freedom to make changes. This is your home. This is where you're going to live for the rest of your life, unless you decide to upgrade and move to another home or move to another area, location, different city. This is going to be your home, so you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can paint each room in the home different colors. You can add on to the home, add additional room to the home. You can do your landscaping how you want to. You can really personalize that space, make it unique to you. Right? Even if you get a home that's basic, and this is a starter home for you. You're just getting this home. It's not the home of your dream, but you're getting it right now. Build yourself more equity in the home by upgrading the home and doing other things with the home. But you have the option to do that when you own. So number 4, when it comes down to renting and owning, the pros and the cons of it, things to consider. One good thing that I can say about renting a home is you pay less upfront. So sometimes, depending on where you are as buyers, if you're ready to, or as a customer, should I say, at that point, the things that you may think of when it comes down to renting a home versus owning a home. If you don't have a lot of money, cash on hand, then that probably sometimes sway you more so to renting, because there's not a lot of upfront fees that you have to pay. Or I know that is a big consideration when it comes down to renting and owning for someone that's new starting off, is you're paying less fees or less monies up front when you're renting. Number 4, with owning your home, there's long-term financial investments that's a benefit in owning your home. When you do get approved for purchasing a home, right, and they tell you that you qualify, your price point is $200,000 and your payments are going to be $2,000 a month. I want you to consider this. Don't look for a home that's going to be right at your max price point at $200,000. Let's look at $150,000 to $180,000. And the reason why I'm saying that, because maybe your mortgage payment will only be $1,800 now, because we didn't max out and find a home at $200,000. So the smart thing to do to build yourself equity in your home, if your max budget as far as your rent, you can afford $2,000, let's look for a home where your mortgage will only be around $1,800. That way you can take that $200 or even $100 difference, still not exceeding what you can comfortably pay on a mortgage, and pay that extra, and you'll end up paying your home years quicker. Get with your mortgage company and they can tell you if you want to pay your house off in 10 years or 15 years or 7 years, how much do you have to pay extra on your mortgage payment in order to make that happen. I do understand there are times when you cannot do that. You don't have the cash on hand. You might not have the credit to own at this time. So these are some things that I just wanted to cause you all to just think, get your wheels spinning regarding renting and buying. Just take those things into consideration. And don't be fearful, if you are, because I know that there's a lot of people that are approved out there and that they are qualified to get a good home, but you're kind of just scared because it's a lot of responsibility. But just think about some of the things that we talked about. Think about some of the money that you're wasting, paying off the landlord's property versus paying off your own. So I hope I said something today to help you all start thinking about more about yourself and investing in yourself versus this renting and buying topics. Go ahead and leave me some comments in the description box below. What are your concerns about renting versus buying? You know, what are your thoughts on the topic? And let's have a discussion. My goal is to educate you all so that you will know exactly what you're getting into. You will understand the addendums and the documents, the agreements, and the contracts that you're signing to better have you in a position that you're more comfortable and confident when it comes down to purchasing your first home or your next home. So again, my name is Michelle Capers and I'm with GivenTree Realty, and I will see you all in the next video.